Welcome back, guys, to episode 149 of the Factorio Let's Play. Yeah, obviously a great milestone is not that far off now. Episode 150, the last episode, hopefully, of this Let's Play season. Yeah. I would want to tell you what I've done this episode, but I really can't because I haven't even recorded the episode yet. So yeah, I cannot look into the future. But what I'm trying to do is, as I said already in the last episode, I want to finish the entire steel production. I want to hook that all in and get it all going, fill it up with robots and turn it all on. Yeah. I mean, you are now a little bit smarter than I am, so you can see what I'm doing actually. Yeah, it's actually sort of crazy. This Let's Play has been going on now since the 1st of October 2018. Yeah, you heard that right. So that means, at least at the date of recording this, well, at the date of uploading, we are at 230 days. This Let's Play has been going on. I guess that's kind of a lot. So yeah, with an average of 1.55 days per video. I really got a frog in my throat, you know. I'm sorry, everyone, but I guess now you have to listen to my frog in the throat kind of voice. Doesn't want to come out. And I think that's also not a saying in English, but I don't care. You all probably think I spider now. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this Let's Play is now almost over. What we are going to do next, as I already said in a previous video, the next thing will just be speed runny try on an island map, but without aliens, on otherwise normal settings, just to kind of try out a map that's an island, but also just to kind of see how fast can I get through the game. And then I will maybe do some speedrun related stuff in the future as well, mostly for me, just off video, trying to get better at speedrunning, kind of looking some tactics up or whatever. Maybe then there'll be also a big tutorial on speedrunning as well. But I don't want to promise too much. Essentially, what we'll have to do still is the last 2 achievements I still need to get in the game. And those are the 2 speedrun related ones. So you probably know that what that means. So you have to get it done in 15 hours. I think that's possible for me. That's kind of the mark that I'll try to go for in a Let's Play. But the 8 hours will definitely be a little bit difficult. But we'll have to see how far I can get. Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit now also about the topic for today, and that is kind of my opinion on the Epic Store in general, and just talking a little bit about the Epic Game Store in general. So yeah, or I guess why I hate the Epic Game Store and why I don't know, why I hope it won't succeed now. That's a little harsh. I don't know. So Epic, as a company that is sitting behind the Epic Store, they became kind of famous, I guess, with one sort of game that you probably already heard about, and that's Fortnite. And they definitely earned a lot of money with that game. And now if you're a gaming related company and you have a bunch of money to spare, why what should you do with all of that money, right? Like that's just the natural question. And maybe you then take a look at another company that, well, used to make games and now it just makes money, and that is Steam. Or Valve, I guess, is the company behind Steam. And I mean, Steam or Valve is definitely Valve. Definitely not Valve, but hey. Yeah, they are definitely making quite a bit of money on Steam. And maybe Epic is trying to do the same now. Or I don't know what they're trying to do. I mean, yeah, they also have like the Unreal Engine, which is like a game engine used in many popular games these days, but that's just nothing like directly customer facing, like just the logo that you see in a few games like Rocket League, for example. Yeah, so mostly I think they are a big marketing thing, like that's the thing that they nail, kind of, So basically they made their Epic Game Store, and then, well, if you, it's like everything, like if you're like the newcomer to like the new scene and you like the new store in like the game store place where like Steam is like pretty much like the main thing and all the other ones are only there because of exclusives or because it's just like there because it's there, like with Uplay, for example, because like I have NO1800, for example, bought through Steam, and when I launch NO1800, then there comes like NO1800, or before that comes like the Uplay launcher shortly like popping up, and then NO launches, and then you have like you pop up, hey, launch your Uplay overlay with Shift and F2, and hey, launch your Steam overlay with Shift and Tab, and kind of ridiculous if you ask me. Yeah, like that's the reason some game stores apparently are able to exist, because they're like backed by the big publishers, basically, like Uplay and how's it from EA called again? I don't really remember. Yeah. Now I feel a little bit dumb for not remembering. EA Game Store. Origin, obviously Origin, yeah. Well, yeah, like these types of platforms only exist because they can like sell their own games on them. I mean, EA makes like a bunch of games, and not all of them are available on Steam, so they are only then available on Origin. And that's kind of fine in my opinion. I mean, for me as like a Steam user, that sort of sucks, but yeah. But now there are companies like Epic, and they don't want to compete on like a feature level apparently with Steam, because that is for them obviously impossible. So they're just taking all the money and giving it away to buy themselves exclusivity deals, and that brings them like sort of many different points, and that's like where their marketing strategy kind of comes in. On one side, obviously everybody who has a clear brain hates exclusives, because exclusives are just bad for everybody. But if you now want to play the game, then you have to get the Epic Store, and then you're basically in there, and then, hey, now that I have that store, I might as well just buy like another game that's maybe also like an exclusive there, whatever. And they've done it to like many different games, like I think like Bioshock, something else, I think. Yeah, like many different games. For example, also NO1800, which is like in the end the only reason that I pre-ordered NO1800, because like the pre-orders were still available through Steam, because that was sort of like a hasty decision probably. Yeah, and that's something that I really hate. I mean, now that's where the marketing strategy comes in. So they can basically tell, hey, we are doing this because we love gamers, right? Like, we are doing this because we are nice people. We are doing this because we just want to break the monopoly of Steam. And there are enough people out there who believe that, and that is concerning, honestly. So just to break it down for you, if you also think that what they're doing is good for gaming, and monopolies in any way are bad, sure, I get that. The Steam Store being a monopoly is also not necessarily a good thing. But in my opinion, you don't break a monopoly by doing things again through like the exclusive route, because now they force me to take their product. Like they have a monopoly on NO 1800, for example. I mean, sure, that's also available on Uplay, but yeah. And that wouldn't be that big of an issue if I would already want to, or if I would already have their store in a way, you know? I mean, you can just say, yeah, it's not a big deal, right? You can like just download it, it's for free. But like my kind of policy these days to buying games is, if it's on a Steam store, then yeah, sure, why not? If it's not on Steam, then chances that I buy a game are really, really low. And the reason for that is that it's easy, you know? You have like your one store, you have like your one place where all your games are. I have like my one widget on my desktop where like all my most played Steam games of the last 14 days are on. And that makes it really easy for me. If I want to buy a game, I don't have to think about, hey, do I want to buy that from that store or from that store or from that store? If I want to play a game, I don't have to think about like on what store I bought the damn game. I don't have like multiple clients of different stores running in the background all the time, launching its startup and everything like that. Or also like fighting against downloads, you know, like Steam, for example. When I'm playing a game, Steam doesn't download games in the background. But now, like updates, for example, you know, and now maybe I play a game on Steam, and now the Epic Store, for example, decides it now wants to update a game. Like I don't have any control over that in that scenario. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, I think, to be on one store and to stay on one store. But if you can't like choose your store, or if you could like go just completely to another store, I don't know, maybe even take like all your games with you, then that's also a great thing. So why would I want to go to another store? And that's kind of the thing where features come in, and that's sort of the thing why I hate the idea of being forced into getting the Epic Store client. I mean, I don't have it right now, and I will try as hard as I can not to get it, but like that's the thing. If you have a great store, if you have great features, if you are like maybe even unique in a way, then I don't have any issue with that, you know? But if you are I don't know, just not a great store, I guess, then that makes it a little bit harder for me. So I found like a Trello board here from the Epic Store with their feature roadmap, which is actually pretty interesting. I didn't expect to find anything like that. So I guess they are actually at least caring a little bit, because they are definitely having quite a few features on here that I felt were definitely missing. So under recently shipped features, for example, they have stuff like store search, or collections and bundles, offline mode functionality. Like that's a big one that they were missing, I think. Or regional pricing even. Then they have like near-term things that 1 to 3 months, basically. Improved DLC support, multi-SKU, cloud saves is also a big one. Store video hosting. I don't know. Store page redesign, stuff like that. Player playtime tracking is like a big one. That's something that I love about Steam. I mean, you also might hate it, obviously, because then you see how much time you're essentially wasting on Steam. But that's, I think, also pretty interesting insight. And then like midterm, that's 4 to 6 months user reviews. Like that's like, what sort of store doesn't have like user reviews, right? Wishlist, also a big one, I think. mod mod support for games. Like that's also a pretty big thing. And in long term, so that's more than 6 months, they have stuff like achievements, a shopping cart, and then date to be defined, stuff like gifting and automated refunds, for example. So they are definitely lacking on the feature front, and even with stuff that there's even like a lot of stuff that's not on here, like the entire like Steam workshop sort of thing, you know, like that's just a really amazing thing for gaming in general, I think. Just like being able to have like your mods and your like custom assets, for example, like through this easy to use central place. That, for example, is like a pretty big one, I think. Yeah, so now the next kind of big thing that they are having there is like their thing what they're better than Steam is their revenue share model. So I think they take I think it was 12% or 8, I'm not quite sure. I think that's also a little bit staggered, but yeah. And Steam is taking I think like 30%. And now that does seem pretty steep from Steam's side, that they take a lot of money, and yes, that's true. But you also have to think about like where we're coming from, right? Like before Steam, you bought your games in the physical store, and I don't know how big like the profit or revenue share is with that sort of stuff, you know? Like you, as a game developer, I think it's a lot harder for you to then really sell a game in a store, and like the sort of money that probably also takes up, it's probably a lot, actually. So I wouldn't be surprised if Steam actually gives the developers more money than if they would sell like physical copies of the game, you know. Yeah, sure, they could also just offer the game themselves for download, but you also need like server infrastructure for that, and you need to care about things like user accounts and security and privacy. Meanwhile, every developer can just like go to Steam and upload their game there and like put in like a description, title, stuff like that, and that's it with like distribution. That makes it definitely a lot easier for also like indie developers, for example. Yeah, exactly. So they just aren't like a monopoly out of like luck. They're more like a monopoly right now because they like transformed the market by themselves and have done a lot for PC gaming while doing so. Also, yeah, well, Epic is sort of like weird with privacy and security. Like there were definitely some pretty big security flaws that they had in their software in the past, like credit card details getting stolen. I think like there was even a short period of time where you could theoretically log into any other Fortnite account. So yeah, I don't know, like that seems to be like a platform where you just from like the security standpoint and the track record that they have, it might not be the smartest thing to spend a lot of money there and like have your credit card details entered in there, you know. Yeah, so that's also a thing to kind of look out for, just like the security in general. And also a thing that I touched on in the last video where I talked about like Google Stadia and it being a good thing for Linux gaming because Stadia runs on Linux. Steam has also done a lot of stuff for Linux, and I think that's definitely pretty great. I don't use Linux myself, but I'm someone who thinks that Windows needs a strong competitor, and macOS isn't cutting it. I mean, they are a good competitor probably to Windows, but only on their own hardware, you know, that's kind of the problem. Yeah, and Steam has done a lot for Linux. So, for example, they are working on Proton. I don't know, like I think Proton is like an open source. Yeah, I mean, it's Linux. Pretty much everything that's open source. So they've worked like a lot to improve that, and through that also Wine, which is like the compatibility kind of layer stuff, so you can run Windows programs on Linux. So they've done a lot to not only just offer their store on Linux, which the Epic Store, to my knowledge, is not available there, and there's not even like a planned thing as far as I know. So it's not only that they offer their store on Linux and that they offer game developers to make their games Linux compatible and ship that through Steam with all the advantages that Steam has. Like Factorio, for example, that's also just a Steam game, and you can just download that on Steam on Linux. It's not a problem. Factorio is like cross-platform like that. And if you go on a site like steamdb.info, for example, let me actually do that here real quick. I mean, we will be a little bit over time anyway. So there you can sort your games after Linux compatibility. And if I do that, my 3 most played games actually are all Linux compatible. That's Factorio, Rocket League, Euro Truck Simulator 2, also stuff like Echo, City Skylines, War Thunder, Train Fever, Tropico 5, for example, Tropico 6 obviously as well. Even here, like Blueprint Tycoon, like just some smaller games like that. Portal 2 even, Terraria. So obviously not everything is available over there, but there's definitely already a pretty good selection of games that are directly Linux compatible. And now, on top of that, there's like their Proton thing, which allows you to play Windows games that aren't directly Linux compatible, but play them on Linux anyways. And you could theoretically already do that with every game on the store right now. Just obviously not all the games work perfectly, but that's sort of another thing. And as far as I know, they also work together with graphics card manufacturers to build like drivers for Linux, for example, which is also really important. So they've done a lot to like push Linux and Linux gaming as a whole, and I think that's a really good thing. And with Steam, with Epic, that just goes into a completely different direction, right? They aren't even offering their platform on Linux yet, so yeah, we'll see about that in the future. Yeah, in general, it's a difficult topic to talk about because it's like, yeah, on one side, sure, Steam is a monopoly and that's not good for everybody. But on the other side, I think a monopoly might be better than being forced into using something different, which is still sort of a monopoly, and that something different is just inferior. So, yeah, difficult topic, as I said. So maybe now you're hating, or you have also a little bit of hate on Epic. So what can you do against Epic? Just try and avoid their store. Try and avoid to be try and avoid it, right? Like that's like the most important thing with stuff like that is just to vote with your wallet. And that's something that I think many people are struggling with, and that is really sad. It's just kind of like the same thing like pre-ordering EA games, right? Like it's like the typical EA game cycle. Like EA launches a new trailer for a game and people are pre-ordering it, then they find out it's crap and microtransactions and everything. And then everyone is hating everywhere in EA, and then everyone says never pre-order again, and then EA releases a new trailer for a new game and everyone pre-orders again, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so people really fail to vote with their wallet, and that's just bad overall. Yeah, so maybe you also have opinions, maybe I missed some stuff. I mean, I definitely did. This is like a pretty big and complex topic. So, yeah, I mean, you can use the comment section, I guess, if you also have an opinion. Yeah, with that, thank you guys for watching. See you all tomorrow for hopefully the last episode of this Let's Play season. Then season 5 and then season 6 back on this map, hopefully. Thank you guys for watching. See you all then. Have a great time. Bye bye.